Okay, so welcome to the Yamanote Style Japanese Sounds lesson number 21, continuing on with long vowels. Now, I know that we said in the previous lesson that there were no more sounds to cover, which is basically true. However, we haven't done anything with combining sounds other than the ya, you, and yo thus far, and vowels are a sort of important special case to that. So, for example, when we have the vowel a, which sounds like ah, if you remember, there may be times when it's combined and you have two a's in a row. So it would be ah ah. In this case, however, the sound of the ah is just extended, so it takes two beats. Ah. So this is called a long vowel, but it's long only in the sense that it literally takes longer to say. It doesn't change sounds like, for example, in English, when you have a letter I that can sound like E or I or I, nothing like that. So for the next example, we have the I vowel in Japanese, which sounds like E. Again, if you have two of them in a row, the sound is still E, it's just longer. E. Continuing on. If you have the U vowel, and there's two in a row, it just repeats longer. Oo. The E vowel, which sounds like E, instead of E, if you have two of them, it's E. Again, it just repeats longer. And finally, if you have O, if O goes on for two beats, it just sounds like O. And many times when you say English words that are sort of transliterated into Japanese, those words may or may sound longer to Japanese people than they do to, whatever English speakers. So for example, if you see like the word server, well, first of all, these syllables don't really translate directly into Japanese syllables. So for instance, saba, it would be S-A-B-A, saba. But in this case, it may be that, Japanese people hear the second part of the word as taking longer, saba. So they may say, this A gets repeated, right? 1, 2. Same thing, just to give an example that is probably more common. We have the word coffee. Well, in Japanese, first of all, the C sounds like a K, right? And the actual way that this is usually converted is like this. So kohi, but kohi would be pronounced like kohi. And actually, Japanese people hear the word as kohi, right? So they hear the word as this, and thus it's written like this. Now, another way that you can write this instead of writing out two O's, two I's, is you can just put this bar on top. For example, the official right way to write Tokyo, right, would be with these bars. Without the bars, it's actually wrong. But, in English, those bars aren't used often, so people tend to just leave off what they don't know about. And that's a nice way of segmenting into our next topic, which is that whenever you have an O sound to be extended, it may be extended with O, or it may be extended with O, U. And that is actually the case in Tokyo. So Tokyo is written like this, but it's actually written like this, as far as the actual vowels that are written when it's written in Japanese. So important thing to know is that O followed by U sounds very similar to O followed by O. Both of them sound like O, and the OU combination is actually more common. We'll see that as we get into further lessons that involve actual Japanese writing. So once again, leave any comments and we'll get back to you.